Good morning, Sonder fam. How is everyone doing this morning? I see lots of familiar names there in the chat. Nikki and Pam and Darlene and who else do I see in there? Natalie's there. Um, Teresa's there. I think we've represented both coasts. We've got some folks in Washington State, some folks in Maryland, and probably everybody in between. Is there anybody here? This is your first time at one of our socials. You can just put a little me in the chat. I see Darlene had raised her hand. Um, Saying she's new. We welcome. We love to see our new folks. We love to see our returning members. We have such a fabulous community, so it's so fun to get to see. Oh, and Jennifer is saying good morning. Didn't get to join live very often. She's in Colorado Springs. I am here in Aurora, Colorado, which is a suburb of Denver. So you're not too far away from me. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Maya, and I have been here doing Silk and Sonder for it's been like 5 years now, which is kind of crazy to me to think like, wow, that went very fast. So thank you all for playing the on a scale of breakfast, how you are today. Oh, Nikki's going to be at Red Rocks. Have you been to Red Rocks before? Red Rocks is an amazing venue. It's so beautiful. Um, so hopefully, oh, you will love it. Just remember, if you're coming from sea level, we are a mile high, and Red Rocks is even higher. So there's not a lot of oxygen. People are always like, "There's no air here." So pace yourself and drink lots of water when you come to Colorado. I like the cozy nerdy things. I love her little graphics, and she has the are you an overcooked omelet, mischievous muffin, perplexed pancake, woozy waffle, or frantic frittata. I think maybe I kind of feel like a little perplexed pancake. I don't know, maybe I'm not that perplexed, I don't know, but yeah. And people are also saying in the chat, you also want to make sure you have chapstick when you come to Colorado, and lotion, because it is dry. We have been having some nice rain this last week, which is so needed because we had such a dry winter, hardly any snow. So we're still in a drought. Yeah, and Doreen's saying watch your alcohol intake. Yeah, that's the other thing I always tell people. Alcohol will hit you way faster. If when I go to Since I'm used to being here at altitude, when I go to sea level, I can drink people under the table because not that I really drink that much, and I really don't drink at all anymore, but used to go to sea level and you can drink a lot because you've kind of gotten used to the high altitude. So yeah, is definitely is something to keep in mind when you come visit, but we love to see folks come and visit. Anyway, so make sure you set your chat to everyone. It has an obnoxious tendency to default back to host and panelist. And when it does that, the only people that see what you write are myself and my fabulous co-facilitator, Jen O, who is coming to us from Texas this morning, where it is also chilly. It's pretty chilly here this morning as well. So I know we're having kind of the odd spring, maybe not spring. Our trees are very confused. A lot of the leaves on several of the trees around my neighborhood, because it got down cold and rained, and we had some snow, and we're supposed to have snow next week. The leaves all kind of crinkled up and fell off, so we have all these little crinkly. It looks like kale that was like out in our driveway. I asked my husband. I said, "Did you dump a bunch of kale in the driveway? What is this?" But no, it was some leaves. So a few little community guidelines just to make sure that we have the safe and supportive environment here. Want to make sure we're kind and courteous to both yourself and others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. We try to focus on the task at hand, which is setting up our week. But I know sometimes the chat veers off into other little areas. But we try to kind of keep us on task, right? Redirecting any of those customer care inquiries to our headquarters team, hello@silkandsonder.com. Jennifer and I do not have access to your account, so we can't fix things like shipping addresses or billing information, updating credit card expiration dates, all those kinds of things. We can't fix any of that. So those all go to hello@silkandsonder.com. And then remember that these socials really are a tool that helps elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have such a fabulous, supportive, creative, brilliant community here. But ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever something we're working on that just isn't your jam, feel free to work on another page. Feel free to work on your coloring. You can kind of be doing whatever you need to do. This is your hour. I always tell people this is your hour. You do whatever you need to do for this hour. You've carved out this time. And nothing about this journal should be a source of stress. So I see people sometimes saying, like, oh, I'm behind, or oh, there's, some sort of I need to catch up, or those kinds of things. And they're feeling a little stressed about it. Like, no, 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 don't. We're here doing what we need to do. And I saw Meredith is asking about an error in the digital version of the journal. Please send those to hello@silkandsonder.com. Posting in Sonder Club, sometimes folks see them, sometimes they don't. So I always tell people if there's an issue, any sort of a problem, that all goes to hello@silkandsonder.com, because that way they track those emails and they'll answer you. And that way, also, if there's some sort of a QA issue, they can get those back. So please, please, please make sure those go there. Just remember, they are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific Coast, folks. So they probably will not get to your email until Monday at some point. So a little patience is always appreciated. And happy birthday to all the May birthdays. Do we have any May birthdays in the house? I feel like there are a lot of May birthdays going on here. So I want to say happy birthday month to them. My birthday is next month. So love the birthdays. And so, May 22nd, that was my parents' wedding anniversary. May 27th, happy birthday. You've got the whole month to celebrate, right? So May 10th, excellent. Happy birthday to our May babies. And this month we are looking at the theme of integrity, which is kind of an interesting one to look at. I think we have not done it before, so it definitely is kind of an interesting thing to look at and decide what it means. And I found a couple different quotes, right? Because you can kind of think about integrity in many different ways. I mean, one of them definitely is, you do what you say, right? You say one thing and then you follow that, right? You walk the talk, so to speak. But also, integrity is choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain. Or integrity is the choice between what's convenient and what's right. I think that's a good one. Sometimes as humans, we tend to default to the convenient, which is not saying you're a bad person, but it takes some effort. We have to work to do what's right sometimes, and that can be tough. But we can do those tough things, right? And then I liked this one from Mindful Mondays that said, what you do in private always shows in public. Reading shows in conversations, your workout shows in your physique, your diet shows in your energy, your discipline shows in your confidence, and your focus shows in your results. You are what you cultivate when no one is watching. And I think that is important to remember, right? Because it shows up, right? It will show up. What you do in private will show up in public. So I think that's important. That's kind of how I'm looking at this integrity, right? What am I doing in private? And then how is that showing up when I'm out in the world? So kind of one way to think about it. So our agenda for this morning, we are going to start our integrity mind map. We always do a little mind map. We have not done the mind map prop yet, Rachel. I've been babbling for far too long, so you're just in time. You have not missed it. We always do something to kind of dig a little bit deeper into our theme. So we do this little mind map when we do the weekly setups. It's not anywhere else. It's not printed in your journal. So it's a bonus of coming to the weekly setups. We're going to do our Rosebud Thorn activity where we reflect on this past week. And then we'll do our weekly setup pages. And if you've been with me before, you know I always have these two little cartoons to remind you of a couple things. One of them is there's room for you here just as you are. The good, the not so good, the struggles, the challenges, the successes, the celebrations. We're here for all of that because life is really all of those things, right? It's the whole picture, and we are not just a part. A lot of times there's just a piece, right? We are here for the whole. And then the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So don't worry about someone telling you, oh, you should be happy about this, or you should be sad about this, or you should be frustrated. You shouldn't be frustrated, right? It's like our feelings are just our feelings. They are how they are. It's good to notice them. It's good to acknowledge them and kind of sit with them sometimes. And we're here for all of that, right? That's what we're here for, to support you. So you're going to find a blank page somewhere in your journal. Maybe you like to use the weekly scratch pad for this and you don't have a specific page that you do. Maybe you can use that definitions page on page 3, the quote page on page 38. A lot of folks like to do the back page on page 60. I see folks saying like, oh, I haven't set up my month yet. And I'm like irritated with myself because I like to have that done first. And it's like, you know what? This is just, you're just going to shake it up a little bit. So maybe when you set up this week, then that will help inform how you want to do for the month. It's okay. You can get it done. No worries. And then a lot of people, if they use a full page, they'll map out the page by dividing it into 4 quadrants. We do have 5 weekends this month, I will tell you, but the last weekend of the month is going to be a bonus mind map. So if you want to just keep your 4 and you can do the bonus mind map somewhere else, you can absolutely do that. Some people like to do like a little stencil. So they trace their driver's license to make little cards. Maybe it's a cookie cutter, a can lid to kind of frame those. And then every week this month, we're kind of peeling back this new layer of our theme to see what's underneath. So here is our first mind map question. We are looking at the self and the inner world for this question and thinking about identity plus self-trust. So I want you to ask yourself, where am I betraying or honoring my relationship with myself? So it's kind of an interesting little introspective. And I will tell you, sometimes these questions, I need to noodle on them for a little bit. I need to think about them for a while. So maybe it's for the full week I think about it. And every time I kind of get an idea, I will pop that into my journal as I think about it. So here's some ways you could set that up again. So this is mine up in the top right. So I use the expense tracker page. So over on page 25, because I don't track my expenses here, I do it electronically. So it works very nicely. You can divide it up into 6 lines per week, and then you have a line for the bonus mind map. If there's not a bonus mind map that month, I just do kind of a end of year wrap up. This is what someone did for April. You could obviously do this for May as well, doing these cool little geometric shapes, and she kind of colored those in, and then she's going to write in each one of those, which is super cool. So again, you can use that blank page. A lot of folks are the back pagers, right? That last page makes it really easy to find and flip to. That scratch pad, maybe it's just sticky notes that you write on. That quote page on 38, and then like I said, I use the expense tracker. So I've just kind of been thinking about it, and honestly, I'm not sure. This is a question that I would have thought would have been quick and easy to answer, but I don't know. I think when I think about honoring my relationship with myself, I think it really is about kind of doing what I need for myself. And sometimes that can be hard, right? The hard choices, like the integrity piece, right? Doing what's right, not what's convenient. And so I think sometimes lately I kind of default into convenient land. So maybe that's something that I want to work on, is kind of pushing into, more into the doing what's right realm. So I'm going to play a little bit of music. I will let you work on, oops, my little thing gets a little crazy sometimes. I will let you work on this. Feel free to share in the chat what you're doing with this, and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. Okay, so I know that wasn't a ton of time. And that's the other thing I like to point out is that this hour goes by really quickly. And we give you a lot of information. And these sometimes can be really deep, meaty prompts. And we don't necessarily, we want to make sure we get through everything. So sometimes it feels like there's not enough time. And you don't have to get everything done here in this hour. And like I said, these mind map questions, I try to think about them all week long. Every time I sit down with my journal, I kind of flip back to the mind map and think, like, what other thoughts have popped into my head about this question for the week? Where am I betraying or honoring my relationship? I saw some folks talking about maybe breaking promises to yourself. Um, I love Janet says, I just wrote wow and stared at it on our page. And you know what? And then put a sticker on it. I love that. Right. And think about that this week. This is, when you see this question, what was your initial response? What was that initial feeling? And why do you think that is? And I think this is a really good one to um, think about for the week, and think about it in the frame of integrity, right? What does that integrity mean? The other thing I was thinking about is really we also use the word integrity to talk about like the airplane, the mechanics integrity, like the integrity of the plane or the integrity of our car, the integrity of the engine, which basically that just means that it's able to do what it needs to do, right? That all of the pieces are there. Oh, Susie, I love your initial feeling. Um, and so think about that too in your own sense, right? So how are you as a whole? How are you operating? And what are maybe some things that you need to think about and work on? So thank you all for kind of thinking on that. And again, I know for some of us, it was like I don't know. I'm going to need to think about this more. Absolutely fine. Keep thinking on that all week. And you're welcome to, kind of engage folks in conversation about this on Sonder Club. This is a good piece to think about. Yeah. And last month's theme of awareness might also be kind of feeding into what this looks like, right? And how you're thinking about integrity now as you've kind of raised your awareness. So that's the nice thing is all of these themes, if you were with us last month or if you've been with us for a while, the themes kind of lead into each other. So I think it's good, right? And we're never a finished product, right? We are always evolving, we are always changing, we are always learning about ourselves. So yeah. Jennifer is saying it's sort of early to get this deep, which yes, the morning ones can be a little tricky when we're like, wait, I just woke up, I haven't had enough coffee. So again, think about this. And it's also good to talk about with other people, right? I often will bring the mind map question up with my husband, and we will kind of talk about what his thoughts are and kind of see how that looks. So lots of things to kind of think about. So we're going to go over to our rosebud thorn, which I think that technically I realized I didn't bring my other journal down here. If you have the May journal, it would be on page 30. And I think it is also in Jennifer's probably going to pop the page numbers in there. But if you still have April and you want to finish it up in April, you can absolutely do that as well. So we always spend just a little bit of time. Oh, thank you, Doreen. It's on page 56 in your April journal if you finished up your month in April. And so always spend a little bit of time reflecting on what did we just do this last week, which is so important because we have that tendency just to rush forward. And this is our opportunity to really kind of think about what we did for the week. So we have the rose, the bud, and the thorn. Honestly, I like to start with the thorn to get that kind of bad, frustrating, challenging part out of the way. So again, that thorn is something that's challenging, stressful, something maybe we could use some support with, something that maybe went wrong. So I put, Jennifer said I should put a bigger picture. I did put this picture. This is my little 19-year-old kitty. I did post a picture in Sonder Club, this picture in Sonder Club. So you can see her bigger. She's looking a little rough because she had to have 5 teeth extracted. So she was feeling pretty rough yesterday. She's doing much better today. I heard her yelling for me up there in the kitchen just a few minutes ago. She's eating much better today, but poor little thing. I mean, I felt bad, but her teeth, apparently cats will get their teeth will like reabsorb into their gums. It's like this weird thing that happens with not all cats, but like some of them, their body basically starts to reabsorb their teeth, and it's a very painful process. Oh, Megan, I'm so sorry. And so anyway, so we had to get her teeth out. So it's like, because she had been in pain, she had to have five teeth out. So she was also a little drugged yesterday. So watching her try to eat was really tough, but she's doing better today. So that was my thorn. Our bud is something that's that emerging opportunity, something that we're looking forward to that gives us hope and motivation and inspiration. Um, and so for me, we've got our trip to Spain in August. We finally bought our plane tickets, which were crazy expensive. I don't know that they would have been any cheaper if we would have earlier, but we got our tickets. We're taking my 25-year-old nephew with us. It's the first time out of the country. We're going to see the eclipse over there. So super, super excited to do that. So I've been planning. I've been like trying to find some books maybe that have been set in Spain and find some music that's kind of like contemporary music in Spain. Like who are the people in Spain listening to? Who do they really like? So I can kind of, yeah, the plane ticket definitely makes it real. And if you've been with me, you know, my husband, we were supposed to go to Morocco in March, and then my husband had to have an appendectomy, so we didn't get to go to that. So looking forward to that. And then our rose is our highlight, something that we're grateful for, something that's positive, something that is happy, something that's been fun. And so I just put books, and more books. I've been buying books. I've been gifted books. I have we last weekend was the independent bookstore day, so we went to a couple bookstores and found some fun books there. So just been having fun reading and doing all that, been getting into our books. So feel free to share your rose, your bud, and or your thorn with us there in the chat. We will play a little bit of music, and then we will check back in and get to our setup. All right. So thank you all for sharing in the chat. I saw various roses, buds, and thorns, just kind of showing that we really do have all of those ups and downs. We've got some struggles with neighbors, but we've got some fun trips coming up. We've got some, again, some injuries, some illnesses. My husband also right now is fighting a cold, which which is always a little bit of a challenge. So definitely, I was just kind of scrolling through, seeing some of this, and I think it's so good. Oh, Rachel, I'm glad you're reading books in our little unofficial book club. It's been fun. We read The Correspondent last month, and this month we started Project Hail Mary. So always fun to be reading with folks. So it's just so important for us really to think about that there are all of these things happening in our lives, and it's so easy. It's human nature to focus on the negative, right? That really is a human trait. Just because it's a instinct survival thing, we need to remember the things that were bad because they could hurt us, because we could die when we were, way back in the day, and we haven't really evolutionarily caught up with that. So we actually have to force ourselves to think of the positive, to think of the buds, the things that are coming up. So this activity, I know sometimes people think like, oh, I don't need to do this. And it's like, yes, you do. You need to spend just a few minutes doing this. So thank you again for being here and working on that. So let's dive into our weekly planner, this first full week of May. How did that happen? I do not know. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how we want to feel, right? So really kind of thinking about how we want to show up for ourselves, how we want to show up for the world. This is page 32 and 33. Start out on page 32. And I'm going to talk about the how I want to feel, and then I'm going to tie it in with the goals as well, so we can work on both of those. If you already know how you want to feel, you can pop that into the chat to see, oh, Marian, yeah, sometimes I do the rosebud thorn on the wrong one, but that's okay, right? You just kind of do it where you need to do it. So this could be one word. Maybe it's I want more of this and less of this. You can see I want more rested and energized, less scattered and exhausted. Maybe it's several words. Maybe it's a phrase. Maybe it's a mantra or an affirmation that you really like. Yeah, whiteout will be my friend. Yes, whiteout is very helpful. And there is some correction tape that's kind of this cream color. If you ever I think it's on Amazon. If you just kind of type in and say that you want, uh, it's like cream colored correction tape, and it blends in with the page quite nicely. Maybe there's a sticker you want to pop in there. Maybe there's a picture that you want to use or a quote. Maybe you want to bring last week's word forward. Maybe you have a word of the year that you like to use, and that's always your feeling for each week. It doesn't have to change every week unless you want it to. So you can see some kind of fun ways people have put that in there. One has peaceful and has some fun stickers in there to kind of complement it. The positive is really cool with kind of a stained glass looking there, super cool. I see people want to feel aligned. And then our major three goals, right underneath that, I often will say, if you set up your goals well, you can set those up so that when you achieve those goals, you will have that feeling, right? And then I also had to put this little meme in here because this is totally me. Working toward my life goals, and then I fall into the pit of looking at memes and social media and finding fun graphics to use in these socials. So for our three goals, you could use those April intentions, or sorry, to be May intentions, typo there for me. On page 9, your monthly habit tracker on page 11, set your goals through that lens of integrity. Maybe you want to do some no goals. Maybe you want to look at previous weeks to see if you have anything that you want to bring forward. Maybe it's a personal challenge this week that you want to do. Oh, Jennifer found the link for the cream correction tape that she uses. And she put that into the chat. And I had to use this picture where it's like, Thursday, spring, is that you? Friday. Oh, okay. Because yes, we're supposed to have snow on Wednesday. We'll see if that actually happens. But lots of ideas for different ways that you can use these. And yeah, some people talk about the friction pins, and that's in the chat, Frixion. You can erase the pins. Just know that you want to make sure if you're using friction pins that they don't sit, that the book, whatever you write in, doesn't sit in a hot car. Yes, Christy, because if they sit in the heat, it will disappear. It's really good when you're sewing and you can write on things like embroidery. And so then you can embroider, or you could do, yeah, but it does fade in the heat. So just keep that in mind. And then maybe you want to look at some bucket list ideas. Maybe you want to pop a quote in for the major three goals. This person has some goals around their home, their work, their health, their mind, and their body, which is more than three. Just FYI, I prefer to keep it at three, but you do not have to. Also, if you've been with us, one of our favorite things is the song, you know, every little thing I do, right? And it's going to be May. And we always like to use that, but I found a new song for Pour Some Sugar on May instead of Pour Some Sugar on Me. So anyway, I thought that was kind of a funny little thing. It's the little things that make me chuckle. Um, Again, here's some ways folks have tied in. They want to feel invigorated and they're going to have a mind, body, and soul goal. They want to feel present and grounded. So their goals are breathe, move, and notice. One person wants to have a fresh perspective on their past and a renewed hope for their future. So they have a little quote about perspective and a little quote about hope. I think that's a great way to do that. Grounded and joyful. And so their goals talk about focusing on more productivity at work, handling tasks as they come in, spending quality time. And then doing some organizing projects. You can see one person has a delete, delegate, and delight. One person, their goals are healing, recharging, and regulating their nervous system. And if goals are not quite your jam, or maybe you do a monthly goal, so you don't necessarily have weekly goals. You could have 3 favorite quotes, 3 podcasts, movies, TV shows that you want to watch, some new books you want to read, or blog posts you want to read. I fall down the Substack hole quite often reading different things that people write. Maybe it's 3 songs of the week. You want to explore 3 topics you want to know more about. Maybe there's 3 new recipes you want to try. We could always do a mini bingo board, right? All of these different things to do. So do I have another one? No. Okay. So, oops, now I got to go back and my slides are so obnoxious and there's weird little things all over the place. Okay. My computer's being obnoxious and my mouse is being obnoxious. It's probably user error. Okay. So I am going to be quiet. I am going to let you work on your how you want to feel, your goals. Feel free to pop those in the chat. We've been talking about all kinds of stuff in the chat, I see. And so we will, play a little music and then we'll check. All right. So how do we do? Did we come up with some goals? Yes, I can go back a page. Is that what you're looking for, Beth Ann? Yes, I also like to mention, make sure that you take screenshots if there's something that you want to remember. We do post the video and it posts pretty quickly into our YouTube channel, but you can also, I always tell people, do some screenshots if there's something that you need. Yeah, especially like for some of these fun graphics, the like the bucket list and those kinds of things. I like the idea of listing 10 things you're proud of. I think that's a fun thing to do. So now we're going to do our to-dos and we're going to do our habits and activities, or habities, as I made up a new word one time when I was talking too fast. So these are the to-dos, can be just a straight up to-do list, right? And I thought this was a nice little taking care of yourself and those you love by exercise, getting enough sleep, time in nature. Like those are kind of fun little things there. But there's also some other things you can do with it. So the Eisenhower matrix, if you haven't heard of this before, it's really helpful if you have a big list of to-dos and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many to-dos, I don't know how I'm going to get them all done. So you sort them into this matrix, right? Things that are important and urgent. Maybe there's some things that are not important, but they're urgent. Um, and then maybe important but not urgent, and not important and not urgent. So you either do it now or you decide, schedule a time when you're going to do it. You delegate that not important but urgent thing. Can you delegate that to someone else? And then delete or donate or delay or defer. Are there some things you can kind of move forward? And Jennifer is putting the link for a nice web link that talks more about using this tool to help you kind of sort through your things, because just having a big list of to-dos, if you're like me, sometimes I have a tendency to do the easy things first and maybe not the most impactful or the most important things, and prioritize. So this is a great way to kind of prioritize those tasks to see about getting those things done. Some people, I love this step by step. I know this is an older one, but I just think it's such a cute graphic. I like to bring it out from time to time just to remind ourselves we're going to do things step by step. We can always do a bingo. This person did a ta-da bingo. We do love a good bingo board here in Silk and Sonder. Maybe you want to look at one of these May to-do lists from the Positively Present. She always has some cute, fun little graphics there. Maybe you need to make a work and a home to-do list. Maybe you want to make a list where you're going to don't do this instead. I think that is a great way to think of things, because so often we want to stop a bad habit, but we don't give ourselves the other habit to put in place. And so it's very hard to stop it because there's this need, this desire to do the thing. Like a lot of times with smokers who will often light up after a meal, they're like, what are you going to do after your meal instead of smoking? Because that is what your default was. Your body wants to do the habitual thing. What thing are you going to do after that? Or if you're trying to stop scrolling on the phone at night, what are you going to do instead of that, right? Are you going to read a book? Are you going to take up like knitting or crochet? Are you going to go for a walk? Like having that thing to put in is very, very important. And you can see one person put in some fun little stickers to remind themselves of some things that they wanted to do. Maybe you want to pick some of our Silk and Sonder Spring energy givers. We're always looking for some good energy givers, and this comes from the Silk and Sonder Instagram account. Highly recommend following that if you're on the social media. I try to post a lot of the Instagram stuff either in our socials or on Sonder Club for the folks who are avoiding social media. And then this one, I can't remember who made this, but it was so cute. Was it you, Heather? So the You've Got Mail. And so she wanted to track who she was sending letters to. So she's doing we have a little unofficial Silk and Sonder pen pal thing that I started, right? It's not, headquarters isn't doing this. It's just something I did because folks wanted to be able to send fun snail mail back and forth. So if you're comfortable having your address out there, it only goes to people who, it wasn't yours, Heather. But yes, totally steal it. So people have been having so much fun sending letters and cards and stickers and little fun things. And I've been having fun. I wrote a couple letters this morning before I hopped on the call. It's just such a fun thing to get real mail, right? Instead of bills or junk mail or whatever. So it's definitely a fun thing to do. So if you sign up, Jennifer popped the link in there. Just give me a little bit of time. It's not automated. So you fill out a little form and then I have to go in and share the document with you. So, and if you have a Gmail account, that's best because it's a Google spreadsheet. So that works best if you do that. But yeah, it's super fun. Yes, Rochelle, after reading the correspondence, the book, The Correspondence, um, is very inspirational in writing letters if you are into doing that kind of thing. And then our habits and activities, Jennifer and I were talking about, I was like, I just want to do this. I want this to be my habit and activity. I just want to recline and have someone playing some lovely music and wear fun flowy clothes and have this open air looking out upon the beautiful water. So that's kind of my inspiration for the week, although that will not be what my week looks like. Um, so habits and activities really are things that are specific to your week. It's a little bit different from the habit wheel that we have, where it's the monthly habits, where you're wanting to do those things every day. These are things maybe specific to the week and maybe things you only want to do a few times during the week. So that's what that goal is, like how many times that week you want to do it. Notice the one that's circled up there. It says night walk with audiobook. She is doing what James Clear calls habit stacking. So it's two things she wants to do: go for a walk and listen to her audiobook. She put them together, right? I'm going to go for a walk and listen to my audiobook. So that's always a good thing to kind of set up there. And some people like to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like, this is a thing I want to do 5 times, read for 30 minutes, meat free day 3 or 4 times, no social media 3 days, meditate 2 days, Orange Theory class 1 day. So kind of a fun way to kind of set that up. So yeah, Susie, so the pen pal, I will, if you filled out the form, I will be sending you an email. Keep an eye out for that. Sometimes it goes to spam with some information. It is very no rules, right? It is just like, here's a list of people, you pick who you want to write to, they pick who they want to write to. There's no rules there. It's not anything stressful. It's just kind of a way to connect with other folks. Here are a couple other calendars that are really fun. A whimsy challenge. And then it says 30 days of integrity, but we know May is 31 days, right? Break up with perfect here. So it talks about week 1 is honesty, week 2 is boundaries, week 3 is alignment, and week 4 is trust. So fun little things. And that came from Silk and Saunders Instagram. Both of these came from Instagram accounts. So, but take a snapshot if you wanted that. I did post the integrity, the Silk and Sonder one in Sonder Club, so you can take a look at that as well. Oops, gosh darn it, I keep going too far. So anyway, I will cycle through these for the to-dos and the habits and activities. Feel free to share what you are going to put in for these areas here, and we will keep moving on to our B-side here in just a moment. All right. Thank you for sharing in the chat what you were putting in those to-dos and those habits and activities. I know some people for the habits and activities, they bring the same thing over from the previous week. They don't change it up, and that is absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that at all, right? If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Bring it on over, work on those things. Again, sometimes I make it very specific to the week, like, okay, so if this upcoming week, maybe I have to facilitate some socials, or maybe I need to take my mom to a doctor's appointment or something like that. So I'll kind of remind myself of some of those things that I want to do. Or maybe it's a habit that I want to try out. So I want to maybe try it 3 days during the week, but I'm not going to force it into my monthly habit wheel, where the idea with that is it's kind of something you do every day. And then thinking about, again, all of the things on this page, kind of thinking how they work together. So those 3 goals that you set, those to-dos, if you can check those to-dos off, those go for your goals. And some people will even kind of make a line and like, here's my goal and here's the to-dos that I need to do to reach that goal. So lots of different ways that you can kind of make all these go together, right? And then we're going to flip over to our B side. Those on those calendars, both were from, these two are from Instagram, different Instagram accounts. The 30 Days of Integrity, which really should be 31 Days of Integrity, is from @SilkenSonder on Instagram. The other one comes from @AmbitiouslyAlexa. So take a screenshot of those if you want to see those. Yes, I like to justify my bloom scrolling, not doom scrolling on Instagram, by saying I have to get images for the Sonder fam. So I can spend time doing that. Yes, so that's where those came from. So our B side over on page 33, one of our facilitators, Katie, likes to call this the B side because it's sometimes we need this page and sometimes we kind of don't. I think a lot of these are repurposed into different things depending on what's going on. So I'm going to show you some examples for the meal plan, the mind body health plan, the shopping list, and that I am loving box, just to kind of walk through so you can see some different ways that people use that. So the meal plan, I think, is something that is pretty heavily repurposed. A lot of folks do, yes, use it to plan their meals, or they use it to track their meals. But then some folks will use it to track exercise or make a cleaning plan, using it for weekly appointments, an outfit tracker. I like to use this when I'm traveling, and I kind of write down, plan out what I want to wear each day when I'm traveling. So it helps me cut down on overpacking. I will definitely be using this on our trip to Spain. Um, Gratitude log helps you build some routines. Maybe it's a hooray listing good things, even if they're small. Maybe it's a symptom tracker, folks who are having migraines or maybe some gastrointestinal issues, kind of keeping track of what that looks like. Yeah, and it's a great place to plan dinners, Beth Ann, trying to eat out less. Yes, so if you have a plan, it's much easier to stick to it than being like, oh, shoot, I didn't think about what we're going to eat for dinner. I'm hungry. Oh, let's just go out. Right. So this is a great place to kind of plan those things there. So here's some examples of things that folks have done. One person does a little moment of Zen doodles, which are the cutest little doodles ever. Oh, yeah. And Anne says she does a daily rose and a thorn. So that's a great idea to do that. Daily affirmations, my weekend reading, a little make it happen. And there's another account, if you follow, it's called Ordinary and Happy. And they have an Instagram account. You can also sign up for a daily email and they will send you different calendars. So they have daily inspirational messages for May. So maybe you want to write some fun little inspirational messages to yourself to kind of use for that meal plan space. Then our mind body health plan, what I'm loving today. These are things that maybe are going to be good for your mind and your body. So what I'm loving today, simple ways to turn around a bad day. Girls just want to have fun. They made a fun little bingo in there. Mind body health plan with the keep it fun, limit time scrolling, eat more fruits and veggies. They gave themselves kind of a little set of things to do. And then I found this one. It's from Knitting Wellness, but you don't have to be a knitter to appreciate these small shifts in how you speak to yourself, different ways to reframe. So saying, I don't have time right now, you can say it's not a priority for me right now. I need discipline. Maybe I just need some better systems. I'm bad at this. I'm still learning this. I need motivation. I need a way to start. And one of the things about motivation, there's tons of research that says motivation doesn't come first. Motivation comes after you start doing something. So sometimes it's just that little step, that little thing. I need a way to start, and then you can move in. Yes, Meredith, the reframes are so important in how we speak to ourselves. This is too much. How about this is just one small part? I should do more. Ooh, the should. We don't want to should ourselves, right? What actually matters today? I can't focus. Maybe I need a slower start. I'll never keep up. Maybe it's one step at a time. I'm so behind. How about I'm at my current capacity, right? Those are really important ways to speak to yourself, because oftentimes we say things to ourselves that we would never say to another person, right? So, good little examples there. I also like the slow, simple, seasonal. They have these fun little nature calendars. So they say you can have like a little nature journal and maybe a pencil or some watercolors and paints, a magnifying glass, have a fun month in nature. So, like today is sketch a blooming flower in your journal. So, lots of fun little pieces. Let me go back. So, the knitting, it's at Knitting Wellness is the Instagram, Darlene. So, if you go into Instagram, you can find that one. Yes. So, and then our shopping list, right? It can obviously be a shopping list, things that you need to buy, things you want to buy, things you need. Maybe it's no unnecessary spending. I've seen lots of folks talking about, I want to save money, um, trying to stop the impulse purchasing, the online buying things. Go into this online shop or go into the shopping list. This is what I did one time. And when I thought I wanted to buy something, I wrote it down and then I made myself wait 24 hours before I bought it. And often I didn't really want it anymore. I didn't necessarily have that, oh, I got to buy this, right? I was like, I can pass, right? So give yourself a little bit of time and just kind of write it down in the shopping list is one way you can use that. Maybe you want to think about ways to fill your cup, a little self-care bingo, a little glimmer bingo. Yeah, Christy says I put things in my Amazon cart, but I can only purchase on Fridays. Um, Excellent plan. Stay out of the dollar store, right? They're trying no junky snacks. A packing list, right? That works good there. A tarot card or like an oracle card for the week is the one that's up in the top right is the tarot card. And then I like the one she says this week I completed, and she was going to use that for the section, and then she just wrote started so much, finished so little, right? I can totally identify with that. And then the I am loving is just something that you're excited about, something that you're enjoying, something that you're really loving. I am super excited. The Pizza Hut Book It program is coming back for kids, kinder through sixth. And Jennifer, we were talking about this. We're both so excited looking for a Pizza Hut in our area. So the I am loving is there at the bottom on page 33. So this is just again something that you're enjoying. So Pizza Hut, when I was a kid, loved the book at Pizza Hut. So if you've got littles, yeah, I do want the adult version of it. But if you've got littles, K6, you do have to download an app, but you can have like up to 5 kiddos in there, and they can earn. And the parent sets the reading goal, not Pizza Hut. Parent decides how many books kids need to read. Kids hit their goal, take it to Pizza Hut. They get a free personal pan pizza, which is like, ooh, yeah, Jennifer popped the link in there for it. So super excited. The other thing I've been loving is, I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's this book called Your To Die For Life, How to Maximize Joy and Minimize Regret Before Your Time Runs Out. And it's a really good reminder of that we only have a certain amount of time. So, and we don't know how much that's going to be. So we want to enjoy it. Yeah, Rochelle, this is it. It wasn't still a thing. They just brought it back. It's going to start this summer. It starts in June. They have had so much people talking about how wonderful it was. So yeah, love it. So I know we're almost at time, so I'll just play just a quick little bit of music to let you kind of work on these sections. Let us know how you're going to repurpose any of these little sections, and then we'll check back in and wrap things up. All right. So I know this hour goes by so fast. It probably doesn't help that I am very chatty, but hopefully you've got an idea of what you want to do with this section. Um, Everybody's going to go look to sign up their kiddos for the Book It program. Um, Share those weekly planner pages in Sonder Club. You can see we got all of these from Sonder Club members, right? So they're all HI, human intelligence, not AI. So we love to be able to share those if you feel comfortable doing so. And then I did want to mention, and Jennifer's going to pop in a link really quick. We are doing I don't know how many of you have that 24/7 personalized life coach that we have, but they're having a free, you could take the Sonder coach for a quick spin for free. So she's going to pop the link for that in the chat. It's kind of a fun way to kind of go in without the commitment of the purchase of the program. So um, we've got that going on. So thank you all for being here with us today. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your morning, great weekend. Jennifer is popping in all kinds of links, the YouTube link, all those different things. And if there's ever anything that you're missing, again, you can write to hello@silkandsonder.com if there's something you're looking for. Also posting in Sonder Club. A lot of the facilitators try to go through that. And some of the times the headquarters folks do too. But just know if you have an issue, those all go to hello@silkandsonder so they can get that taken care of. So have a fabulous rest of your day, and we hopefully will see you again soon.